between the Sfardim and Ashkenazim by heart. Usually, the Sfardim follow Maram Beit Yosef, and Ashkenazim follow Muram, the Ramah, Rav Moshe Isserles. We follow Rav Yosef Cairo, they follow Rav Moshe Isserles. Those are the two different customs. It's kind of like, in the olden times, there used to be there was two Bati Midrashot, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel. We also have the Sephardim and the Ashkenazim. And you know what? At that time, he started quoting before Rav Moshe Feinstein everything word for word perfectly. Rav Moshe was amazed. Whoever knows halakha so clearly. And he said, shach in front of me. And he made him shach chickens in front of him to see if he shachs perfectly without any psul, without any mistakes. Very easy to make mistakes. If the knife's not perfectly smooth, he has to check it's a perfect smooth, not a nook, not a cranny. Because if there's a bump on the knife, the apostles of shchita, that's called drasa. It chops, it's going to tear the neck. That's ikar, it's going to tear it. I'm sorry, that's called ikar. Yeah, but Torah says it should be a smooth cut, like a paper cut, painless to the animal. Whereas if there's jagged edges, it tears the neck apart, it's more painful. And basically, he made sure there was no problems with shihiyah, drasah, chaladah, hagrama, ikar, the five main problems in shchita, when you shach, the five main laws. And he watched him, and he made him shach chickens, and how he did the mitzvah with Yeret Shamayim. After Moshe was done testing him from the Shulchan Aruch, the shachs and the tazes, he said, I never saw a better shochet in my life. Not in America, and even in Europe, as this Avram Alvaz. And quickly he took out a pen and he wrote Avram a smicha on the spot. Outstanding performance, this muflag, he called him a bachar muflag, this young man who's amazing. And he wrote, but he said, you know, Rav Avram, you shouldn't take other people's jobs, even though they were on strike. You shouldn't have done that, maybe. So you know what? Don't take the job. But he told them, pay money to Rav Avram, that you embarrassed him, that you dragged him to court, expenses he had to take on the bus, pay his trip. And from then, Rav Avram smiled and he said, see, Hashem knew that I was sad that I lost my smicha from France. Hashem sent me a new smicha here in America from the Gadol Hadar, from the greatest man of the generation, Rav Moshe Feinstein. He said, look, I might have lost my smicha there, but the Baruch Shalom arranged things that I was able to get close to Rav Moshe now, that he was able to give me a new one. At that time, Rav Avrohom was feeling so down. He wasn't eating. He was sad. His life was empty without his Rosh Hashiva, without his leader. He didn't know what to do. So finally people told him, you know what you should do? Maybe you should take new jobs, other jobs, panasah, maybe open this. They need some things in the yeshiva done. They need someone to open a food store, a little supermarket, maybe take care of that. Maybe the Bachunim need shtenders. He built all the tal shtenders, the very special shape and size, very comfortable, very attractive shtenders, the most beautiful shtenders in the world. He went, he wouldn't even charge much money. He would charge people almost the price of the wood. It was very cheap. He would start giving haircuts to the children, and he would tell them, here, children, say a Mishnah Baal Peh, I'll give you a haircut for free. A boy, he would start doing that. He would start being a shochet. Still learning Torah whenever he could. If there was no customers coming to get haircuts, he'd be sitting there with the Mishnayot, or an Aruch HaShulchan, a law sefer, and reviewing the laws. He'd be studying Gemara when he could, and eventually he got smicha from Ramatul Katz, the Rosh Hashiva of Tels. And Ramatul wrote, Yora, this great leader he could be. He could teach laws to the public. And he wrote, Ashrei ha'eda tivchar bo. Lucky will be the community that chooses such a man as a leader. And he got many letters of endorsement. And about that time, he realized, they even asked him, maybe you want to give a class in the yeshiva, be a Maggid Shir. He was very humble, and coming from a Sephardic origin into an Ashkenaz community, I guess he didn't feel comfortable being their teacher. So he would sit in the back of the shul. He wouldn't even sit in the front, he would sit in the back, by the back door. He was around 31 years old, and people told him, Rav Avrohom, when are you going to get married? He said, okay, I'll go back to Morocco and I'll find a wife. People thought a 31-year-old guy, 32-years-old guy, 10 years late. Maybe he's going to come back with an old girl, maybe a girl with a beard or something, maybe a girl to an old lady. He went back to Morocco and he comes back a little bit later and he has a 14-year-old wife. Gets married. He's 31, she's 14. And very pretty. from the girls of Fez. Her name was Esther. She lost her father. Her father's name was Maimon. She lost her father Maimon at a young age. Allah Shalom. And here she was a Yasoma. She was a wonderful, beautiful girl. And she saw that he's coming, he's a Talmid Chacham. She said, great, a chance to marry a Talmid Chacham. Of course, I'd be more than happy. Relatives told her, don't you want someone who's rich? She said, he is rich, he's a Talmid Chacham. And with that, she followed him to America. People couldn't believe their eyes until they would see Avrohom riding his motorcycle. He had a little motorcycle, not one of those ugly ones with all the engines sticking out. The ones that look like no one ever finished covering them with chrome. But a scooter, a nice little comfortable thing. And then he would give her rides, and people realized, I guess, they're married. And of course, they had Sheva Brachot in the Tel Yeshiva. Everyone realized they have Sheva Brachot in the Yeshiva. They celebrated with them. Everyone was so happy to see this beautiful shidduch. And now, to make a living, to support their growing family, Baruch Hashem, they were blessed with many boys and many girls, Baruch Hashem, Rav Avrohom continued being a Talmid Chacham, a shochet, a mohel, a sofer, a barber, a carpenter, a candyman, the supermarket manager, a mashkiach kashrut. He would also make sure things were kosher at Chol Yisrael and at different stores. And he was even a magician. He was even doing tricks. He would blow fire. And people would say, wow. He used to do tricks. He was able to do a trick. I could put a 50-cent piece under your yarmulke. And before you realized there was a 50-cent piece under your yarmulke. Really, Sfardim are supposed to stay away from magic. Even if it's a trick. Even if it's just a good old trick in the Houdini book. But Ashkenazim have some kulot that they take. And since he was in an Ashkenaz area, he was doing it. And through all these little odd jobs that he had, he was able to make a parnassah, but he was never expensive. He would always give free candy to children that would come in the store and make a bracha out loud. He was always there to help in any way. A truly great person. The Gemara says a Talmid Chacham should be a master. He should know how to do shchita, milah, and safrut, how to shach and do milah and be a sofer. And this is what he did. He knew it all. And one time, it was Purim, I think, and they were doing a little show, a little magic show. And someone said, I don't believe that trick with the fire. And the man ran close, but it was a fire. And the guy got a little bit burned. So the Matal Katz told Avrohom, no more with that magic shtick. He would have stopped doing that, but he had other tricks. He was able to pull 100 ping pong balls out of his mouth in a row, like this. And you'd watch that as he put his hand down and put the ping pong ball in his hat, there'd be another one out of his mouth, and he'd take that one, and as he puts his hand in here, there goes another one, and he goes like this, and all you see is ping pong balls pouring out of his mouth. And everyone used to love being around him. When he would give you a haircut, he would tell you Divrei Torah, he would tell you Midrashim, he would tell you Mishnayot, he would tell you Halachot. You didn't just go get a haircut, you got a whole class. He had a tremendous emunah, belief in Hashem, and right away he built a home for his family next door to Yeshiva. How did he build it? There was a little old shack there. He turned the shack into a house. He was a carpenter. The windows didn't go up, they stayed down. He just put glass there. He didn't make a real window. It was a small house. In the winter, it was cold there. The washing machines would freeze over. But, his wife said, it was the nicest house, a dream house you can have. She said you could hear the yeshiva singing Kedusha. And it tells Kedusha is one of the nicest Kedushas. Kevaydai malei aylam mishar sav shayalim. And their tunes just carry on beautiful melodies. And you could hear it from their bedroom singing Kedusha to Hashem. What could be a nicer home than hearing 500 Bachurim singing Kedusha to Hashem in your house? The Bachrim loved that house. They would come and they'd get cake on the way out of the Beis Midrash. They used to stop by, just walk in and take cake. The Avrahom's house was open to the public. When his wife, Esther, would make a cake, before you know it, the Bachrim would come and help themselves, and she'd have to make another one. He was so happy that even though the house looked like a little hole in the wall, a little closet, it was a palace. It was a castle in its own right. A dream home where you couldn't ask for more. It turns out that a terrible fire broke out in the yeshiva. Some boys had a heater, a portable heater in their room, and the heater caught on to the blanket, and the blanket caught onto the mat, and before you know it, a whole bunch of Bachrim had to be jumping from the windows of the Talz Yeshiva dormitory. Rahman al-Islam, two boys were niftar, died in that fire. They were too scared to jump out the window, and they were very scared. They didn't know what to do. They panicked and they hid under their bed. But it would have been better to jump out the window and break a leg than to be hide under a bed, which was engulfed in flames. It was a very sad time, and right then the yeshiva, broken and shattered, realized we cannot be sad, we have to be happy. To build a yeshiva, you have to be happy. They learned this lesson when the Holocaust destroyed 1/3 of our nation, 6 million Jews in the world. And Rav Meir Bloch, that great Rosh Yeshiva, he had 10 children, you know that? In the Holocaust that were killed. And his wife. And Rav Katz had a big family. Rav Katz, the other Rosh Yeshiva tells, was Rav Meir's brother-in-law. He had a large family, was also wiped out. But you know what? They made up with each other. They said, if we want to bring Torah to America, we can't be sad. We must persevere. We must be happy. Because when you're happy, then you can have Ruach HaKodesh, then you can have Hashem's Shechina, Hashem's presence with you. Hashem doesn't hang around sad people that complain and bitter people that are upset. Hashem likes people that are happy and cheerful. And right then, Rabbi Meir and Rav made up. We're not supposed to feel sad about what happened. We'll start again from scratch. We'll build our family a home, and they both be married, and they both build new families, beautiful families. And now they realize the same thing with the yeshiva, that even though it suffered, they must rebuild and they must be happy. And they started reconstruction to make one of the nicest yeshivot that was ever made. I have pictures of it. It's truly a work of art, of an artist, of a master architect. The building is totally beautiful. And during that time, they had to knock down Avram's house. Because since his house was next to the yeshiva, and now they wanted to rebuild the yeshiva, and they wanted to make a parking lot, they had to make a parking lot on his house. But as they went to his house to knock it down, Avram was, I wish, what could I say? But you can't tell them to stop. But at least, can they give you a house closer to home? Give me a different house right next to the yeshiva. But no, he was moved a mile away. A mile away? I want to be next door to yeshiva. Why? A mile away, half a mile away. Down a big hill. The yeshiva's on a big hill. Literally on like Har HaBayit. Like the Beit HaMikdash was on top of a mountain, on top of a hill. The Tel Yeshiva is on top of a hill. Away from the Geisha world. A whole campus of its own. With rivers, with creeks, with flowers, with gardens, with vineyards, with cherry trees, with apple trees, with Bate Midrasho, with Bate Knesset, with everything you need, from the mikvah to the grocery, to the dormitory, to the high school, to the gym with basketball and sports and swimming pool. Tel Yeshiva is an outstanding little city. You can't call it a city, it's actually a campus, but it's the most beautiful yeshiva in the world. And you know, right then, one rabbi said, nope, you have to knock the house down. And all the people that were involved with knocking the house down that year, it was 3 people. One particular rabbi, one particular construction worker, another man, administrator. All 3 of them